Hello, everybody. Welcome to Lions on the Prowl. And what's on the menu for today? Is there something wrong with Matthew Stafford's feet? We'll find out. Also, we have the question of the day for you fans, the responses from yesterday. Thank you for all the comments in the comment section. It was awesome. We got cooking with the coaches today from Matt EP's press conference, so we'll talk about that a little bit. And one positive thing going forward as into the bye week for the Lions. That's a big thing because we want to try to be positive about the rest of the season. Hopefully, it's not totally lost right now, but we'll see how that goes. We also have on today's show, lunchtime Detroit Lions talk. Who's at the table with the Dern? He'll be joining us for a few good minutes. And so that's it. That's what's on the menu for today.
Hey, thank you for joining us right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. Lunchtime Detroit Lions talk. I'm Kurt Steele, and it's time to hit the notification button, hit the subscribe button. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us over on Twitter, Detroit Lions on the Prowl. You can't miss this fresh content my man Jim and I are bringing to you. So it's time to start the show right now.
Welcome back, and we're going to start out with the question of the day. And the question of the day for you guys to comment on in the chat below is, do the Lions make the playoffs this year? What do you think? So yesterday we had a question, and the question was, do we trade Matthew Stafford? And here were some of the responses.
Hey, Dr. Detroit says, Stafford to the Cowboys for a first and a third. Austin Nicholas says, I definitely think it's time to trade all of them, that you can get Stafford for nothing. It's definitely think it's time to trade all of them that you can. Stafford is nothing anymore. Wow, that's pretty tough. Ooh. It's pretty harsh on the Go Lion says no trade of Matthew Stafford. So, hey, no trade. And there was many more comments. We really appreciate it. A lot of people said the same things. Get rid of the coaching staff, get rid of the administration, get rid of Quinn Patricia, but don't get rid of Matthew Stafford. So, hey, we appreciate you commenting on that, especially over on Facebook. Tons and tons of comments, and we appreciate it right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl.
And now we're going to go into cooking with the coaches and some comments from Matt Patricia.
Yeah, I mean, we'll got a couple of days here between today and tomorrow to kind of reevaluate just to see if we're going to, get anybody on the clock from that standpoint. But I think the guys that are on the short-term IR are doing everything they can to get back. And I think we've seen some good progress there by some of those guys. And it's certainly different for us this year with that. And then we have a practice window on top of it to kind of make sure everyone's back in shape and that, they are fully recovered from the injuries at that point. So, we'll maximize it as much as we can to try to make sure everybody's ready to go. We certainly don't want to put someone out in a situation where, maybe they're out there before they're ready, and utilize the time that we do have on this, different sort of IR schedule.
Well, that was some tight-lipped comments by Matt Patricia. I kind of read into it that maybe some guys are closer to coming back, but they just want to ease them back in. You have Justin Coleman and Joe Dahl, some big pieces of the team supposedly coming back soon from the short-term injured reserve list, but they kind of tight-lipped as usual. I'm not reading too far into it, but Patricia, he'll say one thing and then do something else. So my hands are kind of tied on that one. I can't read too much into it. What do you think, Jim?
I think there's a lot here. I do, because Patricia does give some hints usually. And his hint this week is don't expect Joe Dahl or Justin Coleman back. Because he says right there, he comments and he says, we want to ease our guys back in. We don't want to bring them back too soon and all this other stuff. So to me, we were kind of expecting Joe Dahl and kind of expecting Justin Coleman after the bye week. I would not be counting on it that they will be active on Sunday. That's just my take. It could be completely wrong, but look for Hunter Bryant to make his debut as a Lion on Sunday. If he's active, we'll see.
I think he'll be back.
I think so too. I think so too. So we are going to go into our main course now. Darrell
Yummy,
Bevel
yum.
gave some weird, and the quarterbacks coach for Detroit gave a weird explanation for why Matthew Stafford has not been as good this year as he has been. And what they said was, it's Matthew Stafford's feet. And I'm like, it didn't make any sense whatsoever to me. You know, it doesn't. And I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm going to what they said. And so Bevel says, I think there's a lot of things that really go into how he's played this year. But I think when you simplify it as easy as you can for the quarterback, I had a small conversation about it. I think it usually goes back to your feet, because your feet really tell the story. Your feet is what gets you through your progressions, gets you through the play, and I think we can continue to get better there. Kurt, what do you think about those comments?
Matthew Stafford's footwork. I've never, ever seen Matthew Stafford have a problem with his footwork. Unless they're tinkering around with something and trying to get him to change it, I've never had an issue with his footwork. Because he, even with the off-platform throws he can make, he's always had decent footwork. So I'm really not buying that. I'm really not buying that.
So that's a no for you.
Yeah, that's a no for me, dog. That's a no for me, dog. That's like a no.
No.
It's something's going on with Matthew Stafford, but unless they're tinkering around with his footwork and trying to make some adjustments to somebody who already has good footwork, then that's on the coaches. It's not on Matthew Stafford.
Absolutely. The other thing is, though, that I do see in this is I do see him sailing the ball. I do see him shorten the ball, and that's usually when you throw off your back foot. It's possible. It's possible, but I mean, I don't think that's the whole reason. I don't. I'm going to go into another thing here and just, I don't want to kill this too bad, but his quarterback coach Ryan says that I've seen anything like concern on his. I haven't seen anything like concerning on his end about injuries. He, to me, has felt well. He hasn't given you any indication of anything else. I think his footwork is always. It's always the biggest thing for quarterbacks, and you're always working on it. If you think you're ever done with that, you're probably headed for a problem. It's got to be constantly talked about within the progressions, talked about with your eyes, redirecting your eyes into your feet, and it all ties together. It never goes away. Now, this is really interesting right here. It's just something we always harp on. Even when it's perfect, we're going to harp on it, and that's what we're doing now. Does that make any sense whatsoever to you?
Man, that makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. To be honest with you, it sounds to me like a Matt Patricia talking point, where you can't pinpoint one thing, so you just point the finger at something and say, well, this must be what it is.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be this.
It's
and
strange.
Patricia does that a lot. He does that. It's kind of just like it sounds like a Patricia talking point. It's, well, he was good before, but now he's trash, or now his footwork's messed up. And I just don't buy that. I just don't, I don't get it. I'm not buying that. Matthew Stafford always has impeccable footwork, even and he could throw the ball from many different platforms. I just think something else is going on with Matthew Stafford right now. I just don't know what it is.
Yeah, you guys, what do you think is wrong with Matthew Stafford this year? Let's put that in the comments below for us on the channel. We really appreciate all those. We do respond to each and every one, or we try to. It's been a lot of them. So, really appreciate that too. All right. You know what? We've been through a really tough season. We're 1-3. We're not where we expected to be. We've imploded. We've had lead after lead after lead that we've blown. But give me one positive thing going forward.
Positive
as the Lions come off the bye week. Well, give me something positive.
Actually, our upcoming schedule is something positive. I think we have some games that we can win coming up. We look at Jacksonville, Atlanta, even with the Colts. Those are teams that we can, grab 3 wins in the second quarter of the season, and we can finish the 4-4 at the halfway point of the season. So I think it's possible we can end up being 4-4 at the halfway point if we can get it together, start playing fundamental football very well, sticking with our tackles, covering, figuring out our coverage schemes, and just playing good, sound, fundamental football. We can definitely hit the midway point at 4-4.
Here's my positive take. If we get Joe Dahl back, I really believe our running game improves quite a bit. And with the running game improving, the passing game improves. The defense, I'm not sure about that, but at least I think we can start to control the clock a little better. I think we can start being able to get the other team's offense off the field more and create. Maybe our defense can get enough rest to where it can come out there and stop people every once in a while. They do stop people, but it's just not in the critical situations, and stuff like that. So I think that's a positive thing. I think that the offensive line, Big V getting healthy and maybe moving back to his natural spot, getting Joe Dahl back, putting Jonah Jackson back at that right guard position, I think that could be one of the better offensive lines in the league. And I know that sounds crazy, but I don't believe that at all. Joe Dahl was blowing people up when he was in there. I was amazed at how good he played. So if he's coming back healthy, I think we got a good chance with Frank Ragnow there and him and creating holes. Adrian Peterson had huge holes to run through.
And you bring in the Cabina to make some good lead blocking. And sometimes
he's good too. Yeah.
Yeah. To your point, sometimes a good offense is a precursor to a good defense, because that control offense, you ball control and you keep that defense on the bench. That's the best defense a team can have, is a good offense.
Absolutely. And now we're going to go into Who's at the Table. This is a new segment that we're going to do. Won't be every day, but when we have a guest on, we're going to put that in the show. And today our guest is the Dern. And so we're going to go to that right now. All right, we're going to start our 5 quality minutes out with the Dern. Welcome in, Dern. How are you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing pretty well. A lot of rumors circulating around, so let's jump into that.
Let's get to it. All right, number one question: do you trade Matt Stafford at this point?
Well, it's a really hard question to go into, but if you think about it, it makes perfect sense to do it, and I will explain a little bit why. We have had Stafford for what? I think he was drafted in 2008, right? So at least 10 years.
Yeah.
And we haven't really done anything for him. He's been the backbone for this team, and unfortunately, we haven't been able to have too many winning seasons with him. So it makes sense in a couple ways. One, we're not going anywhere with him right now. He's getting older in age, so you should probably get picks or good players for him while you can. Two, Dak. I love Dak. I do. I like him as a quarterback, and it sucks for what he did or for what happened to him. Prayers for him.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
This is a business. So it makes perfect sense for us to trade Stafford to the Cowboys. That would be my number one place I would trade him to. That division is weak. It's up in the air for all teams. And it would be really hard for the Cowboys to win with Andy Dalton, in my opinion. So if you would trade Stafford to the Cowboys, and I don't know what we would get, at least the first round, I would hope, because of the quality of quarterback that he can be, especially if you put a top 5 running back behind him in Ezekiel Elliott. You give him that top 5 O-line. And all those weapons that they have more weapons than we do.
Yep.
And
they have a better offensive line.
Absolutely. And I know they have a bad defense, but he's used to a bad defense here.
Yeah, that's true.
By them not paying Dak even makes more sense now.
Yep.
Because Dak bet on himself, and unfortunately it didn't work out that way. But I think Stafford's arm is better than Dak's. Dak is faster than Stafford, but
Stafford still has some mobility, though.
Some mobility, and he's smart when he does it too.
Yeah.
He needs to get down when he needs to.
Well, I don't think he should be called on run plays like Bevel is doing, but you know.
Yeah, those torpedoes aren't very good.
Oh, God.
But he would be a much cheaper option than what Dak wanted, because Dak wanted what, 40 million a year?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'd be a much cheaper option.
And a better option, I believe.
Yeah, I think so too. With
He
those
fits their
weapons, he has
system better.
yeah, and he has better arm talent. It would just be a win for all sides, and especially Stafford, because he grew up in Texas. And I think I read he was a Cowboys fan. I know he was born in Tampa, Florida, but he grew up in Texas, went to high school
in
there.
Texas, yeah.
Yeah. So it makes perfect sense all the way around, in my opinion, at least.
Absolutely does. Second question for you today. We're going to get you out on this one. What do you think about firing Bob Quinn or Matt Patricia or both at this point in the season? We're only 1-3. We got some pretty easy games coming up. What do you do there?
Well, I think Patricia and Quinn probably need to go either way, at least by the end of the season. We've proven that we can't win too much with them. Right. A lot of the draft picks that Quinn is doing isn't the greatest. It just seems like a bunch of misses. Mm-hmm. I like a lot of the picks that he has, but a lot of them aren't working. Right. Patricia's scheme is my main problem. And like everyone says, Quinn said 9-7 wasn't good enough.
It's not.
And, yeah, it's not. And we have just fallen from that. And
right.
Which, I mean, as Lions fans, we're used to it, but we need better than that. I was going to say that Patricia is a huge problem. I think we have a lot of talent on this team, but his scheme is just terrible. I don't think that we will fire them probably until the end of the year. And I have because the Lions never do in the first place until the end of the year. And then how bad would it be if we fire Patricia and then the interim head coach starts winning like the Texans, and then you're not able to hire the guy that you want at the end because the interim did so well.
Yes,
so you're not going to get your Bieniemy, you're not going to get your Salah, you're not going to get your David Shaw,
your Jim Harbaugh,
any of the guys that you're thinking of right now. It's going to be really hard to do if that intern head coach starts winning.
I do have a problem with everybody that says that it's fire the coach at this point. Here's why. I fire the GM because the new GM is going to bring in their coach anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the year, that'll be it. It'll be over.
Yep.
Patricia will be gone. Let him coast out the rest of the year, whatever it is, and start fresh. If that's what you're going to do. But like you said, if you fire him, the interim could do really well. And now we say that
you don't get your guy. Right. Yeah. And it would be really terrible to allow Quinn to trade Stafford when he's not going to be the GM anyway. So if we lose to the Jaguars, he needs to be fired right away, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Get your GM and then by the trade deadline, trade Stafford pray to God he's not hurt. Otherwise, we ain't getting anything for him.
Right. This is the most we're going to get from him right now.
Absolutely.
Tell me where you can be found on Twitter, internet, YouTube. Give me where you can be found.
You can follow me at Twitter at Freako_Dern. Name's the Dern on there. I couldn't really change my name again, but
happens.
Yeah. Otherwise, you could look me up on YouTube, I guess. I only have one video out, but it's there.
That's okay. That's okay. You'll get more out, and I really appreciate you coming on with me. And that was 5 quality minutes with the Dern. Thank you very much, guys. Now back to the show.
Well, folks, it's time to have some dessert before we finish our meal up here at lunchtime with Detroit Lions Talk. And the fun fact of the day for your dessert is, surprisingly, rookie cornerback Jeff Okudah has not given up a touchdown all season long. He's getting his lunch eaten, but he hasn't given up a touchdown. What do you think about that, Jim?
I know we've criticized Okudah a lot, and he's even said he wants more respect. He does get torched quite a bit, but he's playing some really good wide receivers as a rookie in a system that really doesn't benefit the cornerback position, I don't think. I mean, we've been playing more zone lately, but and he has been getting torched, but never for a touchdown. And I thought that would be a great way to end the show because of the fact that Jeff Okudah, we have a really hard time with him being picked 3rd overall. But you know what? The kid ain't too bad. just
Yeah.
according to that stat.
It's not.
Leaving you with something
Yeah.
positive today. If you could, I really appreciate it if you like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and please like us on our Facebook page. It's right now it's the Detroit Sports Room. I'm going to be changing it back to Lions on the Prowl, so just bear with me. I think there's a 30-day window where I had to wait on that. So like us there and check out our next video, which should be coming out tomorrow morning. This one is an awesome video. I had a whole lot of fun with my partner, Kurt Steele.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Hey, like you said, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the notification bell so you know you're getting fresh content from us right here on Detroit Lions on the Prowl. And as always, whatever you do in life, you got to boss up, ball out, and be the best version of you that you can be. Thank you for tuning in for Lunchtime Detroit Lions Talk. For Detroit Lions on the Prowl, for my man Jim, this is Kurt Steele, and we will holla at you.